Welcome, I'm Krista Gibson, and this is Growing Older and Wiser, a place where we kind of look at some things in life as we grow older, how we can approach them or think about them or behave in ways that will lead to wisdom rather than being snarky and unhappy. So, I had an interesting experience several times this past week. I'm going to share it with you, and I'm very curious if you have had this happen. As you know, I worked in elder care for 8 years and got to know many seniors when I was in my 50s and 60s, and got to know them quite well and had groups with them where we discussed different issues related to aging and so on. And what I'm going to talk to you about today was never brought up by anybody. And so I'm really curious if I'm the only person on this planet who has had this happen, which I doubt. Anyway, here's what I found happening. And I'll use a specific example. I love purses, and I have several. And every now and then I like to buy a new purse, whether I need it or not. Well, I saw this really cute, kind of called a wallet purse, because it's not that big, but it has places for your credit cards or cards and money and so on. And I thought, well, that is made out of cotton. And I thought, well, that's really cool. And, I could use that. The one that I have for that, don't really like it that well. And it was going to cost like $15. It was like not a big deal, right? Here's what I found myself thinking. Should I buy this or not? I mean, how long am I going to live to really enjoy it? I'm 76. Yes, I could die at any moment, any day. I could die right now doing this video. We have no guarantees how long we're going to live. But, the odds are I've got a little more mileage on me. Anyway, but I found myself thinking, gee, no, I really shouldn't buy this because I really won't have time to use it very much. And I started paying attention to that in myself and noticing there are other things that I have been thinking that way about. So my question to you is, do you find yourself editing decisions, whether it's buying something, going somewhere, planning a trip, whatever it might be? Do you ever catch yourself editing and saying, well, no, I really shouldn't do that because, gee, I'm getting older and I don't know how long I'll be around, so maybe I won't even be here to enjoy it, blah, blah, blah. I'm just curious if you have that experience, and I'm not trying to plant any seeds. But I also think of my sister, who's 91, and when she was late 70s, early 80s, we talked every day on the phone. She told me she was going to live to 86. And I thought, well, that's odd. How do you know that? But, we self-select these things. And she started, planning for, she already had her will and everything made out, but she started, boxing things up. And she would ask me, well, do you want this when I die? Do you want that? And I said, Kitty, don't even think that way. Just live your life. When you go, we'll deal with it. It just isn't important. Well, 86 came and went, and my sister was still here. So then over time, she started talking about, well, I'm going to live to 90. And again, she was planning. She was getting rid of things. She was giving things away. And I don't know how many times she decided where she was going to place her little dog and on and on. And there was one point where I even said to her in one of our phone calls, I said, Kitty, I said, do you think maybe instead of thinking so much about what's going to happen when you die, maybe you should focus a little more on living? What do you want to do as long as you are still alive? Anyway, so she was sure she was going to go at 90. Well, 90 came and went, and we're into year 91. And what I realized when I was listening to her was, because I thought about myself, and I thought, do I do that? Do I think of my life in terms of, well, I'm going to be leaving, so how much, who do I want to give stuff to? What do I want to do? And I realized I didn't really live my life that way, but now I'm catching myself with these decisions, even things like buying more paints for my art or paper. How many pictures can a person paint? Maybe I should stop painting because I'm just going to leave all these pictures behind. Or I know there was this one woman who wrote what was it? It was it was death cleaning, I think. And she was an artist. And she said, she asked her kids and grandkids, they all had her art. She had a bunch of pictures. She said, do any of you want these? Nobody wanted them because they had enough. So she burned them all. And at the time I thought, ooh, what a waste. Now I look at it and I go, well, that made sense. Nobody had to deal with them. So I guess what I'm kind of putting out to you, and maybe you don't do it, but do you catch yourself kind of making decisions based on how long you may or may not be here? Now, personally, I think I'm going to be here till I hit my 90s, but I don't know that. But what I'm doing now is I'm telling myself, Krista, look, you don't know when you're going to go, how you're going to go. You don't know those things and you don't want to know, right? Just let me live in the mystery. And to just take the attitude, as long as I'm here, I'm going to live my life. And I'm going to do the things I want to do, buy the things that I want to buy or can afford. I mean, I can afford a $15 purse. I mean, come on. And live my life instead of allowing myself to start dictating the choices I make on when I may or may not pass on. So anyway, I throw that out to you for your edification and for me being vulnerable to share with you that I've been having this experience. And please use the comment section. And if you want to, just kind of share, is this something you've done or do? And if not, don't call me crazy. Anyway, those are my thoughts for the week. So catch you next time. Bye.